Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Farm Sim 25. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight we are going to be doing something that we've all been waiting for a long time. I think tonight we're gonna buy some new land, and we're gonna build us a lake. We've been talking about this for a while, but it's something that I've really wanted to do on this map for a long time. I already know where we're gonna put it. So I think all that's left is for us to actually buy the land and start working on it. Now, this lake is going to be a bit odd because, again, I don't know that there's anything that I can use to like try to make this lake without making my own mod for a custom water plane. Um, the lake might look a little bit awkward at different angles and stuff, but I think if we just like look past that, we can use the modded water that we already have on as already downloaded. So that'll save me a little bit of work. But I do want to get in and try to do a lake today. Now it is currently September, and as you can see, the field work is going on. Again, I told you guys when we get into Phase 2 is going to be less focused on the actual farming aspect of the farm. Look at that big, beautiful, majestic windmill up there. Look like it's cranking out some money for us, don't it? But it's going to be focused more on the building and showing off the rest of the map. Because we've already done the farming. You guys have seen us do hundreds of hours, literally almost 200 hours of farming on this side of the map. Where we have completely taken over Happy Valley here. I don't know what else to call it. This whole side of the map is ours, essentially. Eventually, I would like to extend this field, obviously. We ran into some issues where we didn't have enough money to get that. But, yeah, if we buy this piece of property right here, Farmland 34, for $250,000, let's go ahead and do that. That leaves us quite a bit of money to do a little bit of work on putting a lake in. And hopefully we can make a decent sized lake over here and make it look nice. And because it's kind of like up against the like trees and stuff over here, I would like to do some maybe like some like cabins or something nearby. We'll see what we can get up or we can get up to. We don't necessarily need to get it all done today, but I would like to get a good start, at least get the lake put in today. And then we'll figure out the rest as we go forward. But as you can see, we already did our spraying of our canola field. Hold up. It wouldn't let me... I don't know why it does that sometimes, but it wouldn't let me change a thing. All right. So we've already done our spraying on our canola field, so it's good to go. The onion field has already been harvested, so that's why it's covered in weeds. And then, of course, our 2 wheat fields are being planted. Looks like they're done planting the wheat field over here, the small wheat field. And so the big wheat field is being planted currently, which is great. So with all of that being said, I think it's time for us to go ahead and let's jump in the old truck and head into town and see what we can find. Now, you guys have been around the series long enough. You guys recognize our truck. It doesn't have the dump bed on it anymore. But for our utility truck, it does a great job. We're going to try to drive this into town and head over to where we want to work on the lake. Been a while since we jumped in this thing. Let me try to fix my headset here. This truck's a little bit loud in my ear holes. Whoa, I forgot this truck is a little squirrely. A little squirrely. I don't know what it is. It's like the bed on this truck doesn't actually weigh anything, so the rear wheels just slip like crazy. You gotta be careful. But we shouldn't have any trouble getting up this hill. And then we will head over to the area that we want to work on. Now again, we're not making this an actual like field for a farm, so we don't need to mow the area. So we can use the paintbrush to do what we want to do with it. The goal or the stipulation that I put on ourselves was mainly for a field. But you can see this area right over here to our right. This is where we want to have our lake. There should be a random building over this direction. Seemingly. Pretty sure this, right back here in this corner is where we want it. Because it's kind of naturally kind of like hemmed in. Yeah, you can see this random building over here. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. So you see how like the terrain is kind of like raised up, kind of forming a little bit of a bowl over here? we kind of want to take advantage of that if we can. Obviously, we're going to be doing quite a bit of terraforming over here. It's going to be a man-made lake after all. And it's going to be a county lake. It's not like a privately owned lake. So I'm not too worried about it. But we're going to park a truck here for the time being. And then we're going to jump in and see what we can do in terms of construction. Get a better lay of the land. So this whole area over here is just screaming for a lake, right? Like you got this area over here would have to be built up a little bit, I think. And then obviously this plot may not be a shed for very long, right? Like we could potentially turn this into like, I don't know, some sort of a lodge or something over here for the lake. And then maybe we have some like camping or something set up. I don't know. But this is kind of where I've been thinking this whole time. And you got the road. Obviously this road we're not allowed to touch because this is a county road. So we're not going to be touching that road. But we have like a natural border with the forest right here, right? And we can kind of come up with an interesting shape. Now again, trying to make this look good is going to be the hard part. Because again, we do have some issues with what we currently have in terms of water. So if we go over here and we go to our decorations, we should be able to go into this decoration and we can show you guys kind of the water planes that I've got. Never mind, I always get this wrong. Okay, then it's this one. Yeah. So our biggest water plane that we currently have, oh, for goodness sakes, I believe is this 180 by 180 meter water plane, which is a significant water plane. Don't get it twisted. Like this is massive. It's hard to see because like it's hard to get it all above the ground, but you can see that is a pretty massive area of water. But it's still not quite as big as I would like to have for like a lake, you know what I mean? So one thing that we could do is we could use just this, but then it would be more of a pond than a lake, you know? But we would put this like somewhere over here, for instance. And we would use the terrain that's here to kind of bring the water up to where we want it. But you can see how it's going to form some like hard edges, right? We would use our terraforming to be able to get rid of that. That's not going to be an issue. But we're going to have to layer multiple areas of water for the size that we are looking at dealing with. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the hard part. And you can see that we are going to have to do a bit of terraforming to raise up the bottom section of the lake a little bit. So let's go ahead and start with that now. So we know that we're going to have to terraform a little bit back here. So we're going to we're going to take this ridge line and we're just going to extend this ridge line down, right? I don't know exactly how much land we currently have over here, so I probably ought to check that out as well. And again, this would come in handy as to figuring out where our property boundaries are by mowing, but I don't really feel like mowing all of this land in the first place. But yeah, you can see we're going to be quite a bit short of that. Now, we could buy another chunk of land. Like, we own just to the other side of this cabin area, right? That's what I'm using kind of as our border here. But I'm thinking that if we can kind of extend this up, that would be a big deal. This road that's through here doesn't need to exist. So if we have to, we can get rid of that. We can use that as sort of a camping road or whatever. And then of course we have this road that comes off of a county road and comes back in here as well. So we're going to keep these in place, and then we'll figure out what we want to do with the rest of this. So first of all, like I said, I think the main thing is to just get in here and do some terraforming. So we're going to need to turn on the leveling tool, make it wider, and then take a level that I think is fine, and that would probably be right about here. All right, so if we zoom out, we want to take this level right about here and just bring this down. And again, this can all be moved. I'm not that worried about that. My main concern right now is to just bring our border of our lake into existence. All right. So, how does that look? Not too shabby. All right, so that gives us our hard edge of the lake. And then we want to bring that up this direction. And then we kind of want to have a hard edge along here somewheres. So I'm thinking our lake kind of wraps around through this direction, right? That's what I'm thinking. I think that is a sizable lake and should be no problem. So let's just go ahead and let's continue this along. We can always go back and fix things as needed. But I just kind of want to bring this along through here. And it will look out of place initially, but we can always blend everything in as we go. The main thing is to get the actual lake built in, first and foremost. All right. Now, the next question is, how are we going to set this up? Obviously, these trees will need to go. Ish, maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. Might be able to work them in. But we need to have this road as, like, the high point. Right? Like, I want this road to kind of go along the backside of the lake. I want the lake to kind of go into the road, if that makes sense. So if we can kind of bring in a little bit of height to this road, I think that would go a long way. So what I'm seeing now is that this road here kind of dips down from here and then raises back up over there. So if we can just kind of level this whole thing off, that would produce the natural like bank of this lake. Also, this game hates me. Every time I try to do anything interesting, it tries to fight me. Alright, let's keep it going. And you can see that that level, that pretty much stays on level there, right? So this is kind of what I'm looking at. Beautiful. All right, now what I would do is obviously bring that out a little bit instead of having it so close. So we can actually make this one wider here. And we just want to bring the side that's on the lake side up a little bit. All right, and I think that should pretty much nail that perfectly. All right, so now that gives us an idea of what our lake is going to look like, right? It's not perfect. We can always adjust everything as we go. It's not that big a deal. But that gives us the foundation of our lake, right? It kind of gives us the footprint. That's the word I was looking for. The footprint of our lake. So now we want to go in here and again we want to just widen widen all of these areas. All right. How's that look? Not too shabby. All right. So, one thing I will probably end up doing is now that we've got the footprint, I want to go through and I want to paint the ground with mud texture. So let's go ahead and do that. We just want to go through, and again, we're not worried about getting it perfect right out the gate. We're just trying to give us the idea of what we're working with. And now we just fill in all this gap in the middle. And again, there's nothing about this that isn't going to look man-made. Like, it is a man-made lake. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not going to look natural. It's not meant to look natural. But what it is going to do is fit naturally into the land as best we can anyway, given our tools available to us. I really wish there was a paintbrush that allowed you to just get rid of trees. Not gonna lie. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have to bring over a tractor with the tree be gone, and we're going to have to get rid of all of the trees that you see inside the lake. Right? And again, I know it looks like crap right now, but just give it time. We'll get there. All right, so we've got some of these trees will be able to stay because we now need to figure out exactly where the water level is going to sit, right? And I think the easiest way to do that would be to go into our water, grab our big water plane. Should be this one. Yeah. That's the 180 by 180. All right, so then we rotate this around. Then we figure out how high up on this we want to put our water. Can't see anything, so kind of a pain in the backside. But if we have the water up this high, you guys can get a kind of an idea of where it's going to sit within the allowed area. I guess one way to do it would be to start over here, since this is kind of our limit, right? So if we come over here, I want it to sit within the ground a little bit. I still think this area right here is probably going to be our best bet for like judging how much the or what our water level is. We want the water level to be right about there, to be perfectly honest. So if we just put that, it didn't place it. Dadgummit game. It's gonna be one of those where it tries to fight me. Alright, we want it to be roughly about there. Maybe a little bit. There we go. Let's put that in. Alright. So that gives us our rough water level estimate. And then we can kind of go off of that and figure out the rest of this. So we're going to need to try to squeeze in different sizes for the different areas. But it's all got to kind of mesh up, otherwise it's going to look like crap. So we want that to be about there. But yeah, you'll see that these because they overlap, there's going to be some weird spots. But again, from a distance, it should look like a lake, right? That's the main thing. We're not going to be swimming in the lake, ideally. All right, so we want to bring back up until it kind of fades. So somewhere in that neighborhood. We need it to be right about there. There we go. And then again, we can always adjust this going forward. And we'll use these smaller ones in the areas where we kind of don't have much of a choice. We just want to bring this up to where it meshes. We could maybe go with a bigger one here. That looks pretty good. Okay. And we want to do this again. Want to be able to see where the edges are so that we can see when we hit the right height. It's not really a good way to see this, is there? Yeah, before we had a pretty solid look at it. What about now? I think that's probably it right there. Just want to make sure that we've got think that's it. Okay. Alright, so now obviously we're going to have to do a little bit of terraforming here to see where we're at. So we are going to actually go through and grab the leveler again, make it as big as possible, and we just kind of want to go through... Alright, I just realized I goofed up too, because I started putting in the water already. We haven't gotten rid of the trees. We haven't gotten rid of the trees yet. How am I going to bring in something to get rid of the trees? Might have to do it by hand. But yeah, anyway. Let's go for leveling. We're going to level everything out inside this gap. So that everything inside looks pretty normal. We want to bring... Alright, and you guys can see where we need to work some more. We just want to try to smooth the floor out as best we can. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it doesn't stick above the water. Alright. How's that look? Okay. Looks alright. Alright, let's try to get the rest of the water planes in now. Let's grab this. This is the one we were working with. We want to rotate this around. Try to keep it within reason. We just want to try to find the best way to see everything the way we need to see it. Alright, let's try from this side. Alright, I think that does a pretty good job of showing us what we are looking at. I think it does anyway. I want to bring this up to about there, I would imagine. About there. Again, I know it's not perfect, but it'll get filled in. It's not that big a deal. Alright, now over here we might be able to get away with the big one. We'll see. I don't think so. I don't think we're getting away with the big one. Let's go with the medium again. Alright, same thing then. We're going to go to this corner. We're just going to bring everything up till it... Oh no! That is not what I wanted. Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's try this again, shall we? Alright, so we want to bring this in here. That seems like the right level. Let's say I got it right. Looks decent. Alright, now we just got to fill in this gap on both sides. So we'll do that real quick. Alright, that looks okay. And then one more over here. Can't really see what I'm doing. The glare of the sun is making this side kind of difficult to work with. All right, we just want to bring this over as best we can. Is that all right? No, that's kind of high. Does that mean I've done all this too high in this corner? Just let the water settle real quick. It's funny because it don't look that high out here. But if you get over here, you can definitely see that that's a little bit high. Which leads me to believe that I've kind of made this a little bit too high. Again, so hard to tell. Because it is... Oh, man. I done clicked off that. I feel like I made this a little bit too high. Let me pull that back a little bit. Looks okay there. So it's just this section here that we need to get right. So what we'll do is we'll start here and go the other direction. Grab this. And just try to bring it up to the right height for being right next to us. I gotta be careful because I don't want it to spill out the side. Alright. So we want this to be about right there, I think. I feel like that is the right height. And I made it spill out the side. God bless it. It's so hard. This is why I don't normally do this stuff on screen, because it is so hard to like get the angles and everything right so that we don't spill out where we want it to. Alright. Again, we want to look at this so that we can see exactly where we want it. That appears to be about right there. Alright. So that just leaves this corner over here that needs to be finished up. Right? Basically. Which I think we can get away with a big one over here. We just want to make sure that we get it correct. Make sure that we spin it around the right direction. I feel like that's about it right there. Let me try to swing down just a little bit closer here. You can see it is a little bit higher. It's definitely not perfect. This is why it's such a pain in the backside to do this. This is why you need one water plane. But again, that's a lot of work. Like that's about where we want it to be. Okay, so that still leaves this one being a little bit too high. Right? Because now we got that. So the rest of these don't look too bad. I guess that one's a little high. Okay. How about the rest? Is it now relatively solid? Still feel like this is a little bit high. It's very close. I think it'll be fine. So we just gotta get this relatively level here now. So that's what we'll do. Go ahead and put this... Put this out here to get it to the right height. I think that's about it. All right. So that is our lake. Now again, I know I have to go in and we got to get rid of some of these trees. And then we can adjust the bank as needed. But I think that's probably going to be kind of what we're looking for in terms of our overall water for the lake. You can see we made a mess of this spot right here. Get this out of the way. We're going to go ahead and go into construction. We're going to remove this. That's no problem. Now, again, I am going to have to come through. I guess I'm going to have to do this stuff by hand because, I was supposed to get rid of the trees before we ended up putting the water in. But now that we have the water in, I can't really grab the tractor to do that. So I'm going to have to cut all this stuff by hand. So I'll see you guys in, I guess, a couple of seconds here for you guys. Alright, so I just got a call that this old tractor has broken down again. And I hate to say it, but I think it's time that we think about moving on from this old Massey Ferguson. She's been a good tractor for us, but man, the maintenance costs as of lately have been insane. She keeps breaking down in the field. The cost of ownership just ain't worth it for us anymore. I think it's time to probably go ahead and think about moving on. We're not going to do so right now, but we're gonna fix this up. We're gonna let it finish its field, and then after this planting season, we are probably going to look into buying a new tractor to replace our Massey Ferguson. So yeah, it's been one of those. Yeah, look at it, another $4,300 to fix this thing. It's getting out of hand, man. I feel like I have to fix this thing every single episode now. We got 55.4 hours on it, which in real life wouldn't be anything for a tractor, but in this game it apparently is too much. But we're going to get this thing back over to the field. Hopefully it will be able to finish up its job. I don't know what happened. It was parked. It was like stuck in the trees. We've never had any issues with this this field in the past, so hopefully whatever was going on with it, this will get it sorted out. But you can see, like, something was going on with this tractor or with the planter or something, which shouldn't be the planters, because I'm pretty sure I fixed the planters not that long ago too, and they don't have that many hours on them. Especially this one. This is the brand new, or no, this is the old one. But still, I mean, you can see barely any hours. All right, let's set this thing back up to working. And then we'll get back over to the lake, get back to work. I did manage to get rid of all the trees, and I feel like I've done a decent overall job of smoothing the area out a little bit. We'll get over there and I'll show you guys. All right, so you can see, like, there is clearly a hill here, which would be like a man-made, earthen dam. But yeah, you can see our nice little lake here that we've made. It's not perfect, but it's pretty solid, I think. The only thing is, I would like to lower this area here a little bit. So what I'm probably going to do is do a little bit of leveling from that side, and just try to get this thing a little bit closer to the ground level if we can. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, if we can do it from this side, this is like the perfect height right here. So if we go here, I say that's the perfect height. You can see water sticking out there, so maybe we need to go just a little bit further back here. And we can always soften this a little bit. But if we take this and we go with this height all the way down along the front of this lake, this should bring everything to within reason. And it'll make it much easier to smooth out as well. And then we can do our painting and stuff as well. But you can see the amount of material that we're cutting off of this quote-unquote earthen dam. Alright. Perfect. How's that look? That looks a lot better. A lot better. Alright, now we should be able to soften this up. And now it should look a lot more, I don't know if natural would be, but like, it should look a lot more like it belongs here. We're just doing it from a distance so we can actually see what we're doing. Alright, how's that look? Oh yeah, that looks way better. Way better. Still got a little bit of a high area here, but that's only one spot along the edge of the entire area, so I feel like that looks way, way better in terms of blending everything together. Again, we just blend it all as best we can. Alright, how's that look? Again, I don't mind having a little bit of a raised section over here. That's not too bad. We can get away with that. Alright, but the next section of this build is going to have to be some sort of like, I don't know, campground or facilities. We do have like a little area here where these trees and stuff are. So if this is the road to coming out to the lake, I would like to change some of this texture along the lake's edge. So let's see if we can't find something that resembles like a sand. Because we want to have like a beach area, right? And I'm thinking this area right in here looks like a perfect area for like a beach. So let's see if we can find something that resembles sand. Oh, look, they actually have sand. Never mind. Didn't see that coming. All right, well, in that case, I say we do like a nice sandy beach right over in here. What do you think? If we're coming in this road here, we have like a parking lot over here. Yeah, I feel like this side here is probably the most apt for being a beach. So let's just go ahead and put our beach right along through here. How's that look? I think it looks fine. All right. And that still leaves plenty of room around the pond for people who want to do fishing or anything like that. Let's go ahead and grab our grass texture. So much grass. There we go. There's our grass texture. All right, let's get this in. We'll just paint this over real quick. All right. And then this whole area kind of needs to be done with the shortened grass. Like it's being kept up by the Department of Natural Resources or something. So I'm thinking... All right, let's try... Oops. All right, that is about as big as that gets. So we're just going to bring this along. Is that not going to get rid of... Okay, so that does not get rid of the bushes. So we kind of have to paint the entire area with the grass texture first, I guess. So let's do that. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll do that. We'll paint this whole area with this grassy texture. I want to try to preserve this road if we can, because this is going to be our way to getting into here. And then we'll do the same thing on this side, because again, this would be maintained, right? If this is the entrance to your park. So I would see this as like a state park sort of deal. Like growing up, we always had this lake that's called Baroque Lake Burr Oak Lake State Park. Good Lord, that's a mouthful to say. But yeah, we always had this. So being able to kind of create something similar is my goal here. Alright, now we should be able to be fine to just go through and paint everything within reason. So we're just going to bring this along the front of the beach. Perfect. Alright, how's that look? It looks pretty solid. And then obviously we're going to need some of this down this direction cleared as well. So let's go ahead and do that. We're just going to bring this along the top of the lake. We're just going to paint through a lot of the areas that people would frequent. All right. Probably go ahead and make the smaller patch through here. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Same thing through here. Bring this whole thing a little bit closer. And then this area over here would be kind of wooded, so I'm not too worried about that, but we do want to have the area along the edges of the lake tamed for anybody who wants to walk the edges of the lake and do some fishing. All right. Let's keep this going. We want to bring this all the way around the edge. Alright, I feel like that's pretty solid in terms of our overall coverage of the area. Maybe could do with a little bit more through here. There we go. Now we would just plant the grass, but we're not going to do that just yet. The next thing I'm thinking is we put in the parking lot. So the parking lot's coming off of this road here. This road here would be asphalt most likely. So let's see if we can find something, either gravel or asphalt. We have gravel there. Concrete. Asphalt. I feel like a little bit of cracked asphalt would probably do. Alright, so this is going to come straight down this road from the main road. Alright. We bring that asphalt straight on to this area right here. Perfect. Now we need to make our parking lot. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to make it rectangular if we can, so we just want to bring this, let's say a decent sized parking lot, probably be like this. Something like that. Seems like a decent sized parking lot. It's not amazing, but it's okay. Let's get the grass back out so that we can paint that area right there. Just kind of square that up a little bit. Perfect. Alright. I think that'll do. This will be our parking area. Then, of course, we need some walkways, so we will grab some dirt. Could go gravel. I think the mud light is probably our better bet here. So we'll grab this, and we just kind of want to bring a pathway up to the beach from here. So something about this size, maybe a bit wider. There we go. We'll just bring this over. There we go. So now they have a nice walking path over to the beach. Alright. Now, how do we want to go from here? We've got a picnic area. Probably needs to be set up over in this area. We don't want them necessarily being on a full-on picnic on our beach, right? Because we expect this beach to get pretty crowded. It's probably the only beach anywhere near here, so we want them to picnic off of the beach. So if we set up a few little picnic areas off of the side over here, I think that would be a good idea. So now I got to find out where all of my decorations are. I believe this is our picnic areas. So we'll grab our picnic table there. Saying I don't own the land. Ah! Frustrating. That's alright though. we'll do some picnic area like over here. Just kind of along the back of the beach. Every so often, giving each picnic area its own little privacy in case people want to have like birthday parties or whatever, but should still allow it to do its thing. Now we got to put in some trash cans and grills. These fancy trash cans probably wouldn't exist out here, so I'm going to say it's either going to be a metal drum or something like this. That would be a trash can. Okay, never mind. That's not actually a trash can. What about this? That's not actually a trash can either. This is a trash can, and it's got a lid on it. And then this is a trash can that's actually got stuff. Okay. All right, so let's put a couple of these down. Maybe we'll put it like, I don't know, back here on each. Each would have its own trash can, just so that we encourage everybody to keep the park clean. All right. And now we need a grill. Now, I don't think they're going to have the normal grills that we would see in a park, but they do actually have grills in here, so we can use those. At least I know I've seen grills. I swear there are grills in here somewhere. I've seen them. Are they towards the top? Did I just scroll past it? So we got water. I would definitely have a water pump nearby. Might be blind. Because I am definitely not seeing any grills. I know there is because we put one down, so it's got to be in this then. This is actually crazy. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. gas grill. Alright, we did find a grill, but man, this would be a fancy grill for a state park. Alright, we'll put one for each table. All right. So we've got a trash can, we've got a picnic table, we've got that. The last thing I want to... Oh, goodness. The last thing I want to do for each area is some sort of water pump. And we saw those hand pumps. Just don't remember exactly where they're at, but I know they had some, like, hand pumps. And we would do, like, one of those for every 3 of those or something. Now, I know there was a hand pump. Somewheres. It's gotta be over here, though. Well, there's the little grills that I was looking for. It's alright, we put in the fancy grill. There's the hand pump. Alright. So again, let's see, how many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Of course there's. So we would have one of these out here in front of like every 4th. Something like that. There we go. That way everybody's got access to fresh water if they need it. Let's see. And obviously the other thing that we would do here is we need to put some gravel down around these camping areas because we don't want there to be a potential for fire, right? So we're going to grab our gravel. And each area just gets a little bit of gravel. There you go. Right. And we're not going to include any paths to these because you don't really need paths for something like this. Um, so I think that will be fine. Let's see, that looks okay. Now, obviously, I would like to put up maybe some umbrellas with some picnic tables or something. Or just, if there is any, like, just regular umbrellas, that would be great, too. I feel like there's a little bit of... Okay. Again, I swear I have seen... It's not going to show it, is it? Alright, well, I do know one thing. If we're going to do that, let's have us a basketball court over here. On the back side of the parking lot. There we go. So that people can bring a basketball and have a little bit of basketball. It'll be half court, but it'll work. And then as far as the rest, it wouldn't be a trampoline, but there's probably a jungle gym nearby, so we'll bring this out here. There we go. Oh, here's our umbrella. And okay, how do we... Okay, where's the umbrella? I thought it had an umbrella. Shows an umbrella. It's alright, though. We'll just put a couple of these along the beach. Again, this isn't so much for cooking or anything, but if somebody brings snacks or something, or maybe they just want to get up out of the sand for a little bit. There we go. I think that'll do. Now we just got to put in the grass, which is going to be interesting. So let's go ahead and do that. I want to go with our cut grass, and we'll use this along the edges. I don't mind having a little bit of an overlap. Makes it look like it's been here a little longer. Now we should be able to slap this in. Perfect. Bring some of this grass through here. Okay. And I'm purposely leaving a little bit of an overlap into the dirt or the muddy texture because I want it to look like the grass is being kind of trampled down in some areas from foot traffic, from the fact that it's up against the water, that sort of thing. All right. Now we just got to fill in all these little gaps. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Not looking for the most sharp angles or anything, and a little bit of overlap changes the texture enough that it should make everything look halfway decent. Because again, if this has been around for any length of time, there's going to be a little bit of bleed over. The grass is going to start to go into the sand a little bit, or the sand's going to be drug into the grass, whichever way you want to look at it. There's going to be, you know, grass starting to come through in the cooking areas where there's stone, like all that sort of stuff. So while it's new to us, I do want it to kind of look like it's been here a little while. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Now the only thing that we're missing is some trees. I would like to put up a few trees in this area, so let's see what we can do about some trees, shall we? Now I know that we got some like fancy trees that are in the decorations, but I'm going to be using some pretty large trees in the neighborhood, just kind of sprucing up the place a little bit. And I love these catalpa trees. All right. I think that'll do. That gives us, I know it's going to be obviously a planted forest, but I think it looks pretty good. How we looking? Oh yeah. Got plenty of shade trees. Things are looking much better. Got some waves on the lake. Look at this. A little bit of a steep drop into the lake though. And if we look too close, you can see that it's not perfectly level. Like, it's so hard to make these. This is why you got to make your own like custom sort of water plane. But overall, I am pretty happy with this. I'm not gonna lie, pretty happy with it. Now, obviously, we're not done with this full build yet. I do want to add some buildings and stuff like that in. But for the moment, I think this is probably a pretty good spot for us. So you guys will have to let me know what you guys think. Whether I did a good enough job. Any suggestions you guys might have to improve on it, let me know. But I'm pretty happy with it. Got our giant windmill off in the distance. We got a beautiful beach here. I'm loving this. But I think this is where we're going to go ahead and call the episode. I know this is going to be a weird one for me to edit, because there's a lot of dead space in this one that I'm going to have to cut out or maybe speed up. I'm not sure. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you guys have been as excited for this lake build as I have been, let me know. But if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.